welcome to my channel made by Cath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me today. Whether you're new to the channel or whether you're an existing subscriber, I'm really glad to have you here. Today I'm going to be talking all about what I've been making in October. I've made a few things. I've got a little pile here and I'm really looking forward to sharing them with you. So let's get going. Before I start talking about what I've been making, I thought I'd mention what I'm wearing today. Today I've got on an Agnes top. It's one of my older Agnes tops. It's one of my earlier makes. The Agnes top, if I should mention, is by Tilly and the Buttons, and it's kind of it's for stretch fabrics. It's got a little bit of a scoop neck, long sleeves, and just kind of quite a fitted top. And I made mine in this cotton jersey with rainbow stripes on, and I played with the stripes around the neckline, and I also did a little ruching here. And I've got a lot of wear out of this top. I think it's actually starting to go a bit bobbly. I've worn it so often, but I really love it. It's nice and bright and colourful when the weather's a little bit grey outside, like it is today. And I'm wearing it with my Brumby skirt, my denim Brumby skirt, which you might have seen before if you watched my previous vlogs. So it's this one here. Yeah, it's in a heavyweight denim, and I just feel like it goes with everything. So that's what I'm wearing today, but let's get started on what I've been making on October. So I've made a few things in October. My children have been at school. This is the first time they've both been at school. My daughter only started school in September. So I've been able to carve out a few pockets of sewing time in the day, which has been really nice because before, when my daughter was at home, I never really sewed in the day. I only had a couple of hours when she was at preschool, and it wasn't really enough time to get all the equipment out and get stuck into some sewing. So it's been really nice to have a couple of daytime sewing sessions, and I've done that, and I haven't been sewing quite as much in the evening, which I think my husband has liked because I've been sitting on the sofa a little bit more with him, doing my knitting and watching something together. But yeah, so I got a fair bit done due to these a few daytime sewing sessions. So let me start on sharing my first make. And it's this dress here, and it is the Hinterland Dress by So Liberated, and I absolutely love this pattern, and this time I made it in a ECAT cotton fabric, which I got from Tokri. It was my first time using that website, and I bought a few ECAT cottons, and this is the first one I've actually turned into something, although I did use a few bits for the Closet Core poof, which you'll see in my previous makes video, which I'll link. But this is my first time turning one of the ECAT cotton fabrics into a wearable garment. I'll link the Tokri website down below in case you fancy checking it out. They do have the most beautiful selection of ECAT cottons in lovely colours, and I found that the service was really good. The fabric came surprisingly fast given it came all the way from India. So yeah, this is the Hinterland dress that I made. So I'll show you the pattern. It's one of my favourites, the Hinterland dress, with lots of different options for different length plackets and different sleeves. And I basically chose to do the short sleeve version with the placket down to the waist. So I've used these buttons, navy buttons, from my stash. It's got the gathered waist, and then I added in waist ties to cinch it in a little bit at the back. And it's got darts at the bust here, which I find sit really well on me. The only alteration I made is to other than adding the ties, is to lengthen the bodice by 1.5 inches, because I have quite a long body, and this one I find comes up a little bit short, and that's what I've done on my other versions. And I kind of made it a knee length. I'll put a photo up so you can see me wearing it and see how it looks. I'm hoping I'll get a lot of wear out of this over winter, even though that it's short sleeved. It's got quite a wintry colour to it, I think. I'm hoping I'll be able to match it with maybe a chunky cardi and some thick tights, or possibly even layer it up with a turtleneck top underneath. I've seen a Hinterland dress layered up a bit before, and I think it looks really nice, and it's not too tight fitting. The ties cinch it in, but it is fairly loose, like I can fit it over my head and without undoing the buttons. So I think a turtleneck will fit underneath nicely. So yeah, as you can see the pictures there of how it looks. I found this cotton is really soft and was really nice to sew with, but I did find it frayed a lot, and from reading online it seems like other people have had similar experiences. So it wasn't a problem, but what I did to make sure the dress does last is I used French seams throughout. So I'll show you the inside of the garment. As you can see, I used French seams on the shoulders, around the armholes, and then it's got an enclosed seam around the neckline anyway. It's a bias bound neckline, and then on the waist seam I enclosed the seam as well. I made a longer piece of bias binding. I used twice the length of the neckline bias binding pattern piece and enclosed the waist seam as well. so I'm hoping it will last really well. The only other thing I'd note about this fabric was it's very geometric, as you can see in the pattern, and I didn't find the print was entirely even on the fabric, which made it a bit of a challenge to cut it out to make sure everything matched. I don't know whether it's due to the nature of how ikkat's made. As I understand, the fabric is dyed before it's woven, and it does add a nice rustic touch that it's not exactly perfect all over, but it did make it a bit of a challenge to cut out. But I'm pleased with how it ended up. I think I've got it fairly matching at the bottom and at the front. And I'm hoping I'll get a lot of wear out of this dress. I've always wanted to make a Hinterland dress in ikat fabric, so I was really pleased to be able to make this one. And I'm looking forward to sewing with the other ikat fabrics I have. I've got a couple of sort of not entirely firm plans of what I want to do. But yeah, I really enjoyed sewing with that, and I think it'll be a really useful dress in my wardrobe because it's fairly casual, so I could wear it as a day dress and it will look really nice, I think. My second make is definitely a wintry one, and it's using a fabric I've had in my stash since summer, and when I bought it in summer it did feel a bit funny buying it because it's such a snuggly fabric, but now the weather's turned I was really pleased to start sewing on it. And it's this star print jacquard fabric which I got from Guthrie Ghani. It's kind of in like an ecru colour, I think it's described, and it's got a lovely texture to it, a kind of a woven knitted texture with these stars all over it. And it's really snuggly, and I made it into a South Bank sweater. So I'll show you it here. And the South Bank sweater is by Nina Lee London, and I talk about it in my top 5 favourite sweatshirt patterns vlog, which I published recently, and I'll put a link up above too. But it's in that video. It's one of my favourite sweatshirt patterns, so I was really pleased to revisit it this winter and make a new South Bank sweater. So I'll show you the pattern. It is comes in different versions: a crop version, a kind of standard sweater version, and a long version with a high neck, slightly drop shoulders, cuffs at the bottom, a band if you're making the dress version. And it's just a really satisfying, speedy sew. Because the neckband is a sort of stand-up collar, there are no issues with trying to get it to lie flat, so it goes in really well. And I've made both the dress version and the crop version before, and I get a lot of use out of both of them. So I decided to make one that's kind of in between the dress version and the crop version, a little bit like this one, but slightly shorter, and I added a band on the bottom. So as you can see, there's the neckline, the drop shoulder there, the cuff, and it's got a band at the bottom. Because I thought that added a bit more of a sweatery, cosy look to it. I'll pop up a picture of me wearing it so you can see how it looks on. It is so snuggly, and I think I'll get loads of wear out of this winter with a pair of jeans just to keep me cosy. The fabric is lovely. It was just so nice to sew with, really stable for a knit fabric. Yeah, just really enjoyable to sew, really nice quality, and I really like it. I think it's jolly, and I think I got lots of wear out of it. What size did I make? I made the size 8. It comes in sizes 6, I think, to 20, and I made the size 8. So the measurements for that is bust 34, waist 26, hips 35.5. So I'm a kind of 32-inch bust, which is size 6, but my waist is 26, so I went with my waist measurement. I didn't want it to be too tight. My hips are 36, so they're a bit larger than the 8, but the way I've made it, as you can see, it sits just above my hip, so I didn't need to worry about that measurement too much for this version. But I did actually taper in the arms to a size 6, because I have quite skinny arms, and I didn't want them to be too baggy, so I just tapered the pattern piece in slightly for the arms to the size 6. Other than adding the bottom band, I didn't make any other changes, and it was quite a straightforward sew, and I think it'll be really handy to keep me cosy on the school runs in winter, or if we're out for a wintry walk. That's my second make, the South Bank sweater, using a star print jacquard fabric from Guthrie Ghani. My next make is the second one of this pattern that I've made in quite a short space of time, because I'm really loving this pattern at the moment. And the pattern is this one, the Sagebrush Top by Friday Pattern Company. I think it's quite a favourite generally at the moment. Quite a lot of people I've seen been enjoying this one. It's a top with a ruffle at the front with kind of statement puffy sleeves and then a little necktie at the back. And it's just a really nice sew. The instructions are great. It comes together quite quickly, and it's just quite a pretty top, I think. So I'll put up a picture of the first version I made quite recently, and I made that in a double gauze. So it kind of ended up with quite poofy sleeves, and the ruffle is quite distinctive, and I've worn that a couple of times and really enjoyed wearing it, so I was on the lookout for some fabric for a second version. And I found some fabric, this time instead of a double gauze, a viscose from System in Tarka. This beautiful viscose here. This is my second top. So yeah, here it is. It's in this lovely viscose with all these different flowers, ditzy floral in different colours on it, which I think are really pretty. And I did the same adjustment for this one as I did for my previous version, to take a little bit of volume out of the sleeves, and it's created quite a different effect on this one. I'll pop a picture up so you can see this one, but because the viscose is so much more flowy and drapey than the double gauze, it feels like a bit of a softer look. The sleeves aren't as defined, and neither is the ruffle, but the little details are still there, and I really love it. So I'm going to be wearing this one a lot. It isn't exactly perfect for this weather, but I think it can still work with a pair of jeans and a chunky cardigan. So that's that. Oops, hang on the floor. With this one, the fabric is so pretty. It's by Cloud9. It's just the softest, drapiest, loveliest viscose. It's really nice. And I wanted to keep it looking nice and pretty on the inside too. So I use French seams on this one, just like with my Hinterland dress. And again, I enclose the seam here of the ruffle. So and again, it's bias bound at the neckline, so I think the inside of this garment looks quite pretty, as well as the outside, and I quite enjoyed taking my time over finishing the inside, and I'm really pleased with that. I do want my clothes to last, and I think that'll hopefully last well with this finish. So that's that. I used the smallest size of this pattern, I think, the extra small, which is bust 32 to 33 inches, waist 24-25, hips 34-35. So my bust is in the extra small range, but my waist and hips are slightly larger, but this top has quite a lot of room to it, so that was absolutely fine. And other than that, I didn't make any other adjustments. It comes up quite long, this top, so I didn't need to lengthen it at all even. So yeah, that's that one. I think it'll work really well with tucked into a skirt or jeans, or out too, so there's a few different ways you can wear it, and I'd really recommend this pattern. It is a lot of fun. It does take a little bit of fabric though. How much fabric do you need for this one? So for the extra small to medium sizes, you need 1.5 meters, just because you need a decent amount for the volume of the sleeves and the bias binding. So I think it takes a bit more fabric than I'd expect, but I think it is worth it for such a pretty top. So that's my third make to share with you, the Friday Pattern Company Sagebrush top, my version number 2. I'm going to have to stop myself there and try some different patterns, otherwise I'll end up with a whole wardrobe of them if I'm not careful. Oh, I meant to say in terms of fabric requirements actually, it was 1.5 meters if you've got wider fabric, 54-inch to 60-inch wide fabric, and 1.9 meters if you've got 45-inch wide fabric. And another great thing about this pattern is the size range is really inclusive. It goes up to size 7X, that's the largest size, and that's bust 59 to 60 inches. Waist 52 to 53 inches and hips 62 to 63 inches. So yeah, really inclusive sizing on this pattern, which is great. So the next make I wanted to share with you is another dress, and it's this dress here. You may recognise this fabric if you watched my October fabric haul and sewing pattern haul video vlog, which I'll link up the top. And it's the Lotta dress by Tilly and the Buttons. It's quite a new pattern that's been released by Tilly and the Buttons, and it's quite a clever pattern because it's designed so you can make it either in a woven fabric or a stretch fabric. The only difference is in the pattern is how you put the neckline in. So this is a viscose challis fabric which I was gifted by Minerva in return for a blog post, which isn't live yet, but I'll be linking it down below as soon as it is available to read. But yeah, it's a viscose challis fabric so woven, so it's got the facing option inside rather than the jersey version of the Lotta dress where you add in a neckband. So I've made the long sleeve version. It's got kind of a drop sleeve, and you can just make a short sleeve that finishes here, which you can't see very easily because this fabric's so busy, but it finishes here, but I've added on the sleeves. It's got an elasticated waist and then a kind of swooshy, fairly full skirt, and quite a high neck. I'll show you the pattern so you can see the different options for this dress. So here we are. As I said, you can make it in stretch or woven, which is quite unusual, I think, and quite a clever idea for this pattern. You can do short sleeves, kind of grown on sleeve, or the longer sleeves. You can add on patch pockets. I didn't because this fabric's quite lightweight and I didn't think I'd really use them. And then it's designed to be kind of quite a swishy skirt. So I made this one. The only adjustment I made was to make the skirt a little bit shorter, as when I initially made it, it looked a bit too long for me. But I'll put up a picture of me wearing it. What to say about this one? I made a size 2, which is my standard size for tilling the buttons. And I enjoyed making it. It comes together quite quickly because it's got these grown on sleeves, and then you add on the sleeve pattern pieces here flat, so there's no setting in of sleeves like often there is with woven sleeves. And then it fits with elastic channels, so that's quite a nice easy way to fit it, so it's quite blousy on top, and then it is lovely and swishy when you wear it. This fabric from Minerva is lovely. It's kind of a slightly thicker, cosier viscose than say this one here, which is more of a silky viscose that I made my sagebrush top in. A bit of a thicker, less silky, more cosy viscose, so I think it'll be good for autumn. And yes, it was an enjoyable sew, and as ever, tilling the buttons instructions are great, so they really hold your hand through it. So I think it'll be quite a good one for someone that's fairly new to sewing to try this one. And the fit is not too, often with woven, you know, you need the darts and everything to get it all fitted, but because it's pulled in by elastic and has a blousy top, the fit isn't too critical. The only thing I found with this pattern is, and I think it's something I need to remember going forward with tilly patterns, is that for the woven patterns particularly, I've noticed that I think I need to do a forward shoulder adjustment, because the way this has ended up sitting on my shoulders is it's a little bit too far back. So it feels like neckband is pulling up a little bit. So I think if I make this pattern again, I'll make a forward shoulder adjustment by 1 inch or so, just so that the shoulder seam sits like this one does, fairly in the middle of my shoulder, rather than sitting a little bit further back and feeling like it's falling back. And I've noticed that in a couple of recent tilly patterns that it just isn't quite, it isn't exactly compatible with my shoulder shape. I think my shoulders maybe sit a little bit more forward, so I need to do that if I make this pattern again. But other than that, it was a satisfying sew. The fabric's lovely and swishy. I think I'll get some good wear out of this when it comes to autumn, with some black tights, black boots, a cardigan. But I think it would also work really well as an office wear dress too, so I think it's quite a flexible one. My next make is kind of a little capsule of makes, and these are my pajamas that I also talked about in my October sewing plans vlog. So I got 2 new patterns to make myself some new pajamas, because I've got quite a few ready to wear pajama tops and bottoms still, and they're starting to get a bit tatty and old, so I thought, right, let me make myself some new ones and give myself a new pajama wardrobe. So for the pajama bottoms, I got this pattern here, another tilling the buttons pattern. It's the Jamie pajama bottoms, because I prefer a woven pajama bottom. I have made some stretch pajama bottoms using the Hudson pants pattern by True Bias, but I do prefer a traditional woven pajama bottom, so I got this pattern by tilling the buttons. And then for the top, pajama tops, I got another new pattern, a brand I hadn't even come across before, this Keeler Tank by Olsen patterns. So let me show you what I've made. So I made 2 versions of the Jamie pajama bottoms. I made a shorts version and a trouser version, and here they are. This is the trouser version, and I made them both in Lady McElroy cotton lawn from Minerva. So these are the trousers in this cool large scale leaf print, and I added on the waist tie at the front, and I used my Prim Vario pliers to add on some little, I can never remember what the name of these things are, I'll pop it up, eyelets, that's it, to add on some eyelets for the waist tie. As I said, it's quite a classic pajama bottom, elasticated waist, very straightforward. It fit nicely, and there's plenty of length to the pattern as well, because I added on extra length to the pattern pieces because I have quite long legs and I don't like pyjamas short, and I find a lot of ready to wear pajama bottoms come up a bit short on me and end up cold around the ankles. But actually the pieces were quite long anyway, so I needn't have added on much extra length at all. And then I made a pair of pajama shorts in this really cool, I think it's called Artistic Vibrance fabric. Again, I added a little tie with the eyelets. And for the pajama shorts, I did lengthen them actually, because I think the pattern pieces make them very cropped, and I didn't want them super cropped. I wanted them to cover a little bit more up, so that's them, that's the back. As I said, they're fairly straightforward. It's I think it's designed to be a beginner pattern, the Jamie pajama bottoms. And yeah, it was a really quick, easy sew. I should have made them ages ago. It's so easy to make my own pajama bottoms. The cotton lawns are really lovely and silky and light, so these ones I think will be perfect in the summer. They'll be nice and breathable and lightweight. The only thing I found I needed to change about this pattern was the ties at the front. I cut originally the ties for the size 2, which is my Tilly size that I mentioned before, but I found that came up really short and I didn't have much of a bow at the front, so I lengthened the ties a little bit to give me more of a bow at the front. But those are they. I'll put a picture up of me wearing each of them so you can see how they look. They're really comfy and I'll definitely be making more. So to go with my pyjama bottoms, and particularly with summer and my pyjama shorts in mind, I also made this top here, which is the Keeler tank top by Olsen Patterns. I hadn't come across this pattern or this pattern company before at all, but I found it when I was browsing the Foldline pattern database and I was looking for something to make into a pyjama vest top pattern, and I was looking for something that was made from jersey and that was fairly simple and straightforward, and I came across this Keeler tank. So as you can see, it's quite a standard vest top with a slight racer back, and then it's got bias binding around the neckline and the armholes. So I thought I'd like to give that a go. It is designed for a rib knit type jersey with quite a lot of stretch to it. And I ended up getting this cotton jersey from Minerva. It's just a plain white cotton jersey. I think it's either got 5% elastane or 5% lycra or something to add the stretch. So when I made this, I decided to size up because I don't think it's quite as stretchy as a rib knit would be, and I think the pattern has got quite a lot of negative ease in, so it's designed to be quite tight fitting, and I didn't really want that for a pyjama top. For my standard, for my measurements, let me see. My measurements would probably put me at a size 0, at least with full bust 32 and waist 26, then that's got hips 35. So I'd have probably done a size 0 but graded up with the hips a bit larger to a size 2, which is hips 36. But I actually, what size did I cut in the end? I can't remember. I made a note. I always make a note what size I've put, what size I've used on the pattern pieces to remind me going forward. So I traced it in case it didn't come out the right size. So I made a size 8 in the end, graded to a size 10 at the hips. So I decided to make a size 8 graded to a size 10 at the hips when I looked at the finished garment measurements. So this pattern has a B cup option and a D cup option, and I went with the B cup option, and the size 8, even though it's designed for a full bust of 36, actually, the finished garment measurement for size 8 is 30 inches, so it's got a lot of negative ease built in. And again, the waist for size 8 is your waist size is given at 30, but the finished garment measurement comes up as 27.5. So there's a lot of negative ease built in, so it's designed to be quite tight fitting and stretchy. And I really wanted it a bit looser, which is why I went so much larger on the size. And I'll put a picture up, and actually I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It turned out not as baggy as I expected actually. I think I could go even larger if I wanted a bit more of a looser fit. So yeah, but it'll be great for bedtime. It's still not too tight and not too restrictive, and I've already ordered some fabric to make another one because I think this will be perfect for wearing in summertime. And it would also be quite nice as a day top with a pair of shorts or a skirt as well. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this pattern. I'm really glad I decided to give it a go. It's quite straightforward to put together. The only fiddly bit is doing the bias binding. Actually, it's not really bias binding, but it's kind of binding. You don't really cut it on the bias for jersey fabric. You cut it, how do you cut it? You cut it, so you cut it so that this is the direction with the greatest stretch that way. So I think I cut it across across the pattern fabric like this. So and yeah, it's just a little bit fiddly to put in because you need to kind of fold it over and catch it. So the way it's done is that you fold it over and catch it on the actual garment itself. So it's kind of folded over underneath and then caught this side. So it was a little bit fiddly, but it's given a really nice soft result, and it sits really well. I think it went in really easily compared to sort of having to try and get a jersey neckband to lie flat. I quite enjoyed this approach of doing the bias binding, well, not bias binding, jersey bias binding as you call it. Anyway, I think I'm rambling a little bit there, but as I said, it's a great basic vest top pattern. I'll definitely be using it again, and there's me wearing it, and I'll definitely get a lot of wear out of this one when it comes to summer. My pajama capsule wardrobe was the last of my sewing makes to show you, but I do have a couple of little knitting makes, another cat. So I'm really romping through this book here. You might have seen some of my makes from this one before. It's Knitted Cats and Kittens by Sue Stratford, and my children are gradually requesting all the cats in this book. So the latest one I've been busy on is this one here, which is Rainbow Cat. This is for my daughter, and I'll show you the kids in the actual book. Where is it? So here's Rainbow Cat in the book, and he's designed to be in actual rainbow colours, but my daughter fancied a all pink version, and so here it is. Yeah, this is made in sport weight yarn, which is really great for toys, I'm finding, because it doesn't get fluffy at all. So it's quite nice and durable. So it's in a range of 4 different pink colours. The yarn came from Lovecrafts, who have a great selection of sport weight yarn by, I think it's by Schackenmeyer. I'll put the details down below. And it took quite a long time, this one, with all the swapping of colours and then all the sewing up. But I'm quite pleased that it's got a little tail at the back. He's got sewn on little whiskers. Yeah, so it was you know, something new for me, doing so many stripes of different colours, and he's got a little kind of cardboard bit on his bottom, so he sits quite nice and flat. So he's currently living on her dresser in her room. I also made some little balls for the kittens to chase, which are here. Lots of little knitted balls. Again, it's a pattern from this book for different size balls. So my daughter requested a pink ball for Fluffy Cat, and then also a fluffy ball that matches Fluffy Cat's fur for Fluffy Cat. And then my son wanted some balls to match his Super Cat. So I've got a whole variety of different size balls. Yeah, they're quite quick to knit up, quite satisfying, and they've had a lot of fun. They're nice and soft, so they're good to be thrown around the house without knocking anything about the place too much. So yeah, one new cat and some more cat balls. And I'm currently knitting one more cat and also a cardigan at the moment, so hopefully in my next makes vlog I'll have some more knitted creations to share with you. But that's all I've been making in October. I am busy making some more things right now, so I'll be back again with some new sewing plans and some new sewing makes again soon. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing what I've been up to. And if you have enjoyed hearing about it, please could you give me a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe and press the little bell icon so you'll hear about my future vlogs. And other than that, just wanted to wish you a very good day, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye!